Jessie Hampton here. So you want to create a Google Classroom for your Lit Circle groups. The easiest way to do this is to create a class for each group. So you go to Classroom, which mine's already in Classroom. I have already archived all my classes from last year. So I'm going to start off fresh and I'm going to go here and I'm going to create a class for each group. And I'm just going to name it Group 1 and hit Create. And it'll take a few seconds to create the class. And I know Gower's going to go over this later more in depth, but I just want to show you how easy it is to add assignments. Then we're going to go to classwork, create an assignment, and I'm going to hit this little paper clip here. So let's say one of the things that we went over was, I'm going to find it in my drive, some of the jobs for Lit Circles. Find the folder. And you can do this with any documents in your drive. But for this one, let's do the Word Whiz. And we can either assign this to all the kids in the group, or you can assign it to one kid in the group. Now what you're going to want to do is make a copy for each of your kids so they each have their own to complete instead of all working on the same copy. And I'm going to title this Word Whiz. And then I simply assign it. And of course you can go in and add instructions and do all of those things as well. Then I'm going to look at this assignment. Now when the kids open it, they're going to want to drop down and open it with Google Docs so they can modify and submit it. So that's super easy. And anything that we went over today, all those activities can be that easy. It's that easy to put them on here for them to do. So it's easy to turn over to digital. One thing I want to show you too while we're doing the screencast is Flipgrid. This is super awesome. So it's free educator sign up, and Screencast-O-Matic, which I'm using right now, is free as well. So if you want to pre-record lessons where you use the screen like this, it's super easy to use and super free. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account, which you can already see. I have already created a class and I've got all of these little assignments here, but I want to show you how to add a new topic. So let's say I want the kids are reading my favorite book, The Hobbit, and they have read chapter 1. Let's say I want to add a quote here. So one of my favorite quotes from chapter 1 is this one. And I'm just going to simply add it right here. You can easily copy and paste stuff. So I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure that I'm arranging. And it is very difficult to find anyone, says Gandalf. I should think so. In these parts, we are plain quiet folk and have no use for adventures. Nasty, disturbing, uncomfortable things. Makes you late for dinner. Bilbo. So that's one of my favorite quotes actually from the book. But we're going to put that quote in there for the kids to read. And then we can add a question. So we could say, I'm going to use this one. If you could go on an adventure, where would you go and what would you do? I'm going to copy that one and use that as our question. Now you could do, why do you think Bilbo responded this way about adventures? Like, what do you think he thinks about them? Or have students pose questions and respond to each other. Have them come up with the questions about those quotes. So anyway, I'm going to post that question right here. And this is, I'm sure you're thinking of all the ways you could implement this right now with questioning and such. So I get to decide how long each video is. So let's say I'm going to let the kids have a 2-minute video discussing where they would go on an adventure and what they would do. Now, you can either write it out like I have, or you can record a video. So now I'm going to create this topic, and this is so cool right here. I simply share it to my Google Classroom if you log in Google. And I want to share it with my group 1. And I'm going to make it an assignment. And then I'm just going to hit go. And there it is. So this is my chapter 1. and it connects right into Google Classroom. So it's pretty brilliant. And I could put extra instructions in there, but I already have instructions in the Flipgrid, so I'm just going to go ahead and assign this. And then I want to view it in my classroom. So here it is. Here is my WordWiz that we put in there earlier, straight from our drive. And here's my Flipgrid. And here's the instructions. So when they go to Flipgrid, all they have to do, they see the quotation, they see the question, they simply click the plus sign, and their camera will pop up on their Chromebooks and they can record their response. And then the really cool thing is they can go back in and respond to each other. So they can be like, oh, I really like where you chose to go on an adventure. Here's what I would do. And you can use this constantly for group discussions within the literature circles. And it's easily integrated into Google Classroom. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be glad to help you set any of this up or help you use this. But these are two awesome tools that you can use for bringing lit circles into the digital classroom.